So if I had to describe you to a friend with zero context, what's the cleanest line about describing what you do?
What I do. Renee breathes life into the rooms she enters by uncorking all of her quirks and madness in a way that repels some but attracts others, and that's exactly what she's trying to do.
Before we get into today's episode, if you're a business owner or founder in Loudoun County, there's a free resource I want you to know about. It's called the Loudoun Business Survival Kit, a practical map of the programs, funding pathways, and the networks that can help you move faster in this market, built specifically for this county. Download it now at go.loudounforward.com. That's go.loudounforward.com. Now, let's get into it.
Say it like a God, say it like a chorus. Loudoun Forward.
So, welcome to Loudoun Forward. My name is Toyo Aramusa. I'm the host of this podcast. Today, my guest is somebody who built from scratch her business and took it international, and then walked away on her own terms to build something even more intentional. Renee Ventrice is a U.S. Navy veteran, a WSET certified wine educator, and one of Loudoun County's most decorated entrepreneurs. She co-founded Cork and Keg Tours in 2016, grew it into an internationally recognized winery and brewery tour company that made USA Today's Reader's Choice Top 10 3 years running. I have more to say about you, Renee. Since she's launched Wine O'Clock Culinary Experiences,
That's it.
pairing wine with life moments through partnerships with brands like Marriott and Salesforce. She's Loudoun's first certified tourism ambassador of the year, a NAWBO Rising Star Entrepreneur of the Year, a board member of Visit Loudoun, and the Amazon best-selling author of Poor Relationship Choices. That's P-O-U-R, Poor Relationship Choices. Renee doesn't just build businesses, she builds belonging. And her story is exactly what Loudoun Forward was made to tell. Welcome to Loudoun Forward, Renee.
Thank you, Toya. This is a really, really great opportunity. And wow, I've done a lot of things in the past 10 years.
I know that it sometimes time just flies.
It really does.
Excellent. So before we talk business, take me through the moment when this new venture of yours became real. What happened?
You know, it came to me. I didn't try to start a winery, event business. I didn't try to write a book. They all came pretty organically based on the things that I was passionate about, and the way that I would share my passion made people tell me, you should write a book. And people come to me and say, hey, can you come to my restaurant and pair my menu with my wine menu and, create events and create some buzz, quote unquote, around our brunches. And I said, sure, why not? And at first I was just working for food. I was like, just feed me, my husband, and my son, and I'll come and I'll do your wine pairings. This is fun for me. But then I realized that people get paid a lot of money to do it. And so I thought, it's time to brand it and be paid to do this. And the more fun it became, the more it felt completely aligned with just who I am and the kind of fun that I like to have. And so I did it. It's really that easy. I mean, I wish there was some kind of an aha moment.
Well,
It's just organic.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. And, that sometimes you start a business and, like you said, I love the way it moved from what you were normally doing and what you were willing to do for free, and that people were looking for you for, and then you're like, oh, I can get paid doing this.
Yeah.
But when was that moment when you thought this was now a real business? Because it starts out, this is fun, oh, this is fun, there's some money here, but is this a hobby money or is this a business? When did you have a moment, or could you talk about the transition period between when you were like, I'm registering this and it's bringing in enough income to sustain itself as an enterprise?
Yeah, I think it was the first time that I gave someone an outrageous, to me, quote on what it would cost to have me come and do their event. And they said, okay. And I was like, someone's really going to pay me that much money just to come and talk about wine and eat fantastic food? All right, I'll do this. And then I got asked to be a speaker at an event. And so I started to realize that people really valued my unique way of describing wine and the way that I, just draw in personality as a part of the experience. Mm-hmm. And as I started to delve into the industry and saw that no one else was really doing it this way, no one really loudly anyway. I'm sure other people do something similar, but mainstream, it just wasn't being done. And that was the moment when I said, Wine O'Clock is something that no one else is doing in this way, and it's time for me to disrupt the industry and make it so that, one, people recognize that wine is for everyone, no matter if you like sweet wine or if you drink wine only from France or whatever your thing is. There's a place for you in this industry. And I noticed that there was a big population that just wasn't being served by that. Not just, minorities or women, younger wine drinkers, people who only like a certain type of wine that's maybe not considered, special. I was like, those people's opinions matter too. I mean, we all make this industry something special to ourselves. So when I realized I had something unique, that's when I said, I'm going to monetize this and I'm going to, brand it, trademark it, and make it my thing. So it was really just kind of over time, I started to realize I was unique in the industry, and who was I to keep that to myself?
I like that. Who was I to keep that to myself? That's great. So, let's look a little bit at the business now and say, because I want to see, we've talked about some of the rosier parts. What are some of the, what you might say, small business things that reliably spike your stress levels?
A few days before an event, you're always afraid the weather is going to be bad. Or a few months before, you're afraid no one's going to come. Or, a few months before that, you're thinking, is this an idea that anyone even really cares about? Am I just spinning my wheels? So, you have a little bit of stress all the way through. But one of my mantras is stress creates diamonds. You don't see a lump of coal sitting there nice and comfortable on a couch, lounging, and suddenly it's a diamond. No, it is put under some real pressure. It feels heat, it feels weight, it has all of these things that could crack it. But if it perseveres, it does become a diamond. So I look at stress as a good thing. Stress is what creates a challenge. It's what drives me to be better at what I do every single time I do something. It's also one of my biggest weaknesses in that I don't sit still in something that succeeds. I think, okay, if it succeeded, what can make it go to that next level? I like being good, but now I want to be great. I like being great, now I want to be excellent. Being excellent's good, but now I need to be exceptional. Once I hit exceptional, I move on to the next thing. So I'm trying really hard to feel like what I'm doing is exceptional right now so that I can sit in it and just continue doing it until it's no longer fun. It no longer serves me.
I like that. I like the way you graded that. And it's, but I think it speaks to the nature of your person and the fact that you like, from what I hear, you like for things to be at a certain level of perfection, and you also, in my head, I'm thinking, you might need to get a manager to run those things so that you can be like a virgin group. I'm just putting ideas out there.
Create myself a universe. So, I don't necessarily look for perfection, but I do look for that fulfillment. And I really do feel fulfilled by challenges. I've been having this conversation with other people, over the past few weeks. So this timing is really interesting. I want things to be great and wonderful, but I do find the magic is in the imperfection. I do find that every time I do something, when I find something that I can do to make it a little better, it's not because I want it to be perfect. It's because I think I can touch a different person by adding a different element. And so I chase that. I chase that high of somebody reaching out to me and saying, I just want you to know your story resonated with me, or I found a new favorite wine, or I laughed so much wine came shooting out of my nose. I mean, I don't have to change lives. I just have to, bring smiles and leave somebody better than I found them, in even the smallest way.
That's great.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just when you're able to sit in that, you're not disappointed. Even my failures don't disappoint me. They give me an opportunity to do it again and do it better. My mentor called it failing up. And he always told me, look, I wouldn't give you this task if I didn't think you could do it. So yeah, that didn't go well. What didn't work, keep what worked, get rid of what didn't, and fail up. Go be great. Nice. And so that's my real philosophy. And ever since I really took that to heart for my life, my business, everything, I just go with the flow.
That's great. So if your business could talk, what would it thank you for? Or what would it complain about?
What would my business thank me for? It would thank me for not letting it be stagnant. It would thank me for the energy and the vitality that it has, that it just seems to organically grow. So it would thank me for letting it be what it is and not trying to force it into any kind of a box. My business would complain about the fact that I don't always give it time to be the exceptional business that it can be. I think I have some businesses sitting in a box over back here going, but wait, you left us behind and we really had more to do, more to give. So I think that my business would complain about the speed at which I do things, and that sometimes it's ready, shoot, aim, and it would complain about and it would complain that I don't do math very well. It would definitely ask me to please hire someone to manage my books.
That's so interesting.
It would. That's what it would want.
So let's talk a bit about support, and what kind of support actually works for you. What keeps you going? Because for every entrepreneur, there is need for all of us thrive on some level of support that keeps us going. So your kind of support, is it practical? Is it emotional? Is it strategic? Or is it just a quiet presence?
It's all of those, just depends on where. My biggest support system is my husband. I've been married to Don for 32 years. We've been together 33 years.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. And he is very type A. He is actually the yin to my yang. I have a tattoo that, that shows that. So the support that I get from him is that he fills in my cracks. What I'm terrible at, he's great at, and vice versa. So we don't step on each other's toes. When we were running the business together, he was back end of the house, I was front end of the house. And it worked really well because we both were in our element. So his level of support is being the brakes to my gas.
Nice.
And that really helps me to actually be more practical about my business. As far as other support goes, I think strategic support is wonderful. I had a fantastic coaching cohort for years that taught me to actually accept myself and believe in myself for not what I know, but for who I was born as. And I never appreciated those things about myself before. And so this cohort really showed me what was special about Renee, the person, not Renee, the educated or the learned, aspects of what I do well. So that kind of support was crucial to me actually being able to take the chances that I've taken. And then as far as technology support goes, I try it all. I mean, I go after self-learning how to do anything from AI to, using CRMs to building my own websites. That kind of support just comes from my inner. Actually, that support comes, I think, from my father, who always told me to go for it, to take risks, to always be the best version of myself. And so that part of me isn't afraid to try to learn to do it myself. So a lot of my support does go back to people. It's just a matter of what those people mean to me and where they support me. My son is another big influence because he's the one who I really want to set an example for and to make proud of what I'm doing. Nothing is better than a mom having their 27-year-old kid tell all their friends to read her book or to vote for her for this or that, or, hey, you need to go on and like my mom's social media. The fact that he's proud of that of me it means everything, and it's a big driving force.
I love that. What I get though is that most of your support, you've named all men. Do you have female support too that you rely on?
Oh, my coaching cohort was all females. It was all women. Well, that's not true. So 2 of my coaches were women, and then my mindset coach was male. I've always been, I'm a daddy's girl. My mom and me, she's the one who makes sure of different things. I know how to be a caretaker because of my mother. I know how to present myself and carry myself because of my mother. And I love her too. I mean, that's, but my father is a really, really massive impact in my life. But I've always hung around guys. I was always that one girl in the guy group where some guy would look at me and be like, "Why is she here?" And then the other guys would say, "No, she's cool. Don't worry." When I was in the Navy, I was the only woman on the watch floor where I was working. So I've always had to put myself in a man's world. And the way I went about that was to make them understand that there's not a whole lot of differences in the way that I think and the things that we need to do together to make things work. So yeah, I think I communicate a lot like men more so than women. I've always been around more men than women for whatever reason. I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I have a few, and guess what? They all tell me the same thing. They're like, "Yeah, I don't have a lot of girlfriends. I usually hang out with guys." And I say, "Well, that's why we get along, So, the coaches were some of the first women to influence me in a professional aspect. Everyone else, from my first mentor to my husband and the people I worked for in the military, all men, they you know what they showed me? They showed me how to value both what men and women can bring to a table and not to separate those. So it's one of the reasons why sometimes, like when there's a women's XYZ coming up, people are like, "Oh, Renee, are you going to do this, that?" And I'm like, well, I mean, I could, but I'm for everybody. I'm not just for women. I'm not just for Black women. I'm not just for Black women who were from Nebraska. I mean, I'm not for everyone. but men get me as well as women, and so I don't pigeonhole myself. I don't define myself by my body parts.
I like that. That's a tagline right there.
That's
true. Don't define myself by my body parts.
I really don't. I also don't define myself by even my race. I mean, it's very important to me being a Black woman. My mother is West Indian. I'm very proud of everything that I am, but I didn't choose to be a woman or a Black woman or even to be from Nebraska, but I chose to be a military veteran. I chose to be an entrepreneur. I chose to become a sommelier. And those are the things that I really feel proud of, are the things that I chose to be and that I lean more into.
That's awesome. This is great. This conversation it's going great. I appreciate it.
Glad you're enjoying it. So am I.
So, what does community mean to you in Loudoun? Who showed up for you? I'll set a background to this. If it's one thing to put your shingles out and say, I have this business and I'm doing this sort of thing. I'm selling this service, I'm selling this product. And, it's another thing to have people show up for you. I know your story is different. You started, in a way, socially, and then you just expanded with it. But who are the people who are still showing up for you, and who makes up community for you in Loudoun?
Ooh, well, that's kind of two different questions, a little bit. But who showed up for me with my business? Loudoun County, Visit Loudoun, and Loudoun County government programs were not only available, but like they reached out. They did a lot to really help me to move forward and to be able to succeed in my businesses as an entrepreneur. 2020 came along, and the quarantine shut down our tour company from March until July. And during that time, they provided grants, they provided visibility, they did a lot of things to help those businesses, come together. And I think one of the reasons they showed up for me is because I was already showing up for them. All the partnerships that I created, all of the collaborations that I did to bring other businesses up, I was bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars for other businesses while I was running my tour company. And I think the fact that I did that made all of those same people who ran their businesses champion me as well. So they really showed up. As far as community goes, my community in Loudoun is both online and in person. From being a part of, I'm on the board of Visit Loudoun, so being a part of the tourism community is really, really great to be behind the scenes and figure out, what businesses really need and share my perspectives to help them develop their programs. So my business community is there. There are networking groups that I go to some of the events and I speak at some events, things like that. That's all, part of the business. But personally, for community, the longtime friendships and the people who I can reach out to when I need a resource or a referral or a letter of support, things of that nature, they're just everywhere. It's a community where when you pour into them, they fill your cup back up. And you have to be open to it. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs that are afraid to trust, afraid to let anybody else pour into their cup. And all they're doing is going out and being philanthropic and doing all these things, but not letting anybody give back to them. And they get depleted and then defeated. So I had to learn to trust a bit more and to actually allow a community to be built around me and my brands. So it's far from, perfect. I mean, everybody's not great. I'm not going to spill the tea on who's not, but But when you learn to trust in that way, you get to expand not only your circle but also your influence, and you get to expand what you learn about yourself and what they can teach you. So it's community it's weird that I'm having trouble with this question because I'm literally a community marketing strategist. And one of my things is teaching people how to leverage both online and in-person communities to move themselves forward. I feel like everybody I touch is a part of my community, whether they're that bad neighbor with a purple house, or they're that amazing neighbor that brings cookies to people every holiday. That's all community. Community isn't just the great people who are loud and out there and do all these wonderful things. Community is in those quiet, dark corners as well. They're the people who need help but don't reach out, that you know about, that you can support. They're the people who don't like you and they try to start some mess and you have to put them in their place. All of that builds strength. All of that builds character. I think now you're in my community. Everybody I meet has a place in the community of Renee. It's just a matter of whether you get to be, on the stage with me or if I have you waiting at the back door to get in.
I love your perspective on this. You've dropped a lot of fine nuggets on this podcast so far, and I'm loving it.
Oh, thank you. I'm having a great time. I love organic conversations where there's no real prep work because it literally just is who we are. Your questions are coming back out as responses to what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is just coming right off the cuff. So This is what's going to make it a great, adventure for you as well.
Yes.
You are really good at bringing out that type of conversation.
I appreciate that.
Don't be surprised if I try to interview you. So
That's fine. That's fine. So we're moving on to your superpowers, and so if I had to describe you to a friend with zero context, what's the cleanest line about describing what you do?
What I do. Renee breathes life into the rooms she enters by uncorking all of her quirks and madness in a way that repels some but attracts others, and that's exactly what she's trying to do.
Nice. So if your best customer had to brag about you, what would they say you're the best at?
A customer who would brag about me would say, I am the best at creating a window where they see a wall. That's another one of my coaching taglines is my clients feel like they've reached everybody they can reach. They've done everything they can do to move their businesses forward, and they just don't know why they're at this sticking point. And it's because they've only been going after the low-hanging fruit of their clients, but I'm getting them to reach for that fruit that's way up at the top. It's harder to reach, it's riper, but it's worth that extra effort. And so finding windows where people see walls is definitely a superpower and something that my clients think I do really well. Now, when it comes to wine, though, while it's kind of the same, it's I give wine a personality, another trademarked word, and it's something that people don't do with wine. And so people like the fact that I pour humanity into a bottle. I let them know which wine has, is bipolar, which wine has emotional issues, which one is a bully, all these things. I give all of these types of personalities to wine, and people love that I make things easily relatable and as fun to talk about as it is to drink.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go, a little on the negative. Who should not buy from you because they're not the right fit?
That's an easy one. You should not buy from me. Well, if you're not a drinker, you shouldn't buy the wine. That's kind of an obvious one. But as far as my coaching goes, you shouldn't work with me if you are afraid to do something non-traditional. You shouldn't work with me if you want me to take an old idea and try to make it work, because that's not what I do. I bring new ideas and I say, I know nobody else does this, but let's try it and see what happens. So if you're not innovative, if you're afraid to go outside of the lines, and if you're concerned about not being liked, and if you want everyone to be your client, don't come to me. I'll give you your money back. And I've done that before, because everybody is not your client. Everybody is not my client. I don't want to work with anybody who wants to be in a square, who wants to be in a tiny little place where everything just runs smoothly all the time. I need people who are okay to, move fast and break things to find out where the magic is. So if you don't believe in magic, don't, lose my number.
I'm loving it. So what's the most, and I want to get to the heart of this. Yeah. What's the most common frustration that you remove for your customers, particularly, let's say, you're coaching in the first week?
That they have already done everything that they can do and they should quit. People come to me when they're in that space, either when they're first starting out and they're frustrated because they don't know how to get that ball rolling. The story of Sisyphus, where he's pushing the rock up the hill. I've got a client right now that is pushing that rock up that hill, and they're ready to quit. And I'm like, you guys, you are so close to the top of this where now it's going to get easier, but you've got to push through this hard thing. No one ever told you being an entrepreneur was easy. So I remove doubt. And I remove their frustration of feeling like they're a best kept secret. And the way I do that is to let them know that, yeah, you're a secret because you're telling the wrong person. You're trying to sell cheeseburgers to a bunch of vegans. You've got to put that meat in front of meat eaters. So let me show you where your carnivores are, They think they're already talking to carnivores, but they don't realize that those people are just playing at being carnivores. They're not really, they act like it. They get meat all over their plate at the party, but they're throwing the meatballs over their shoulder. They're not really the carnivores. So I show them how to actually find those clients that are actually their buyers, not just the people who make them feel popular by liking their pages and all of that. So yeah, that's the biggest frustration I remove. I make them see that there is a whole audience out there that they have yet to leverage and contact, and I show them how to communicate with them and nurture those relationships.
Excellent. So if you have, not to put you on the spot for this one, whether you have it or not, but do you have a customer quote that made you think, yes, this is why we do this?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I've kind of already said it. The customer who said to me, Renee, you saw a window where I saw a wall, and you opened up my world to a whole set of clients that I didn't even think about leveraging. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. That was one of the quotes that really struck me and really hit me at my core and let me know that I was in the right place doing the right things for people. He has a company where he sells cigar accessories on a website. I was helping him to actually launch this whole thing. And he thought that his customer was a cigar smoker. And I was like, okay, sure, people who smoke cigars are using these products, but who's going online and actually buying these cigar accessories? Who is it that finds all of these accessories laying all around the house that she says, either use it or lose it? I'm throwing all this mess out, right? It's the women in their lives. It's their partners who are the ones that are actually his best client, because they're the ones who are going to use his website to put all of that stuff, on the site. And then I also let him know, I'm like, but where are you finding these cigar smokers? And so he's like, oh, cigar lounges and these cigar websites and this and that. And I was like, they're there. But you know who else is there? Everybody else who sells cigar accessories and is looking for cigar smokers. You're all competing like hyenas for that one sick little antelope, right? You know what the lioness is doing? She is already at the watering hole, waiting for all the healthy ones to get there with their guard down, and then she pounces and she grabs a big healthy one. Now I know that's a terrible analogy, but I can't think of another one that's better yet. But the point was, instead of going after them in the cigar community, go after them when they're, when they travel. These are luxury travelers. These are C-suite executives. These are people who drink whiskey and wine. These are people who go on adventures. These are the people who actually also enjoy a cigar. You hit them in a place where all the other cigar people are back there with the hyenas. You be there at that watering hole and you're going to thrive. And he was just on the cover of a magazine. He was in Ashburn magazine. Several, major cigar magazines have been covering him. So when people listen to me, it works.
Loving the energy. So what's the simplest first step someone can take to get started with you?
Ooh, wow. Just go to my website. It's my name, reneeventrice.com, and choose what it is you want from me. I've really been trying to streamline, because I have 3 verticals, right? And I really would like to streamline that. So I've got the coaching, and then I've got, my wine events. Like I say that I'm a pairing professional. I pair businesses with their collaborators and clients by day, and I pair wine with life and personality by night. So when you go to my site and you decide, oh, I'm interested in the wine portion, let's click over here, or I need some coaching with my business, I'll click over here. That's really the quickest way to get to me. You can, schedule some time in my schedule, and for a 30-minute meeting, you've got 1,800 seconds to talk about anything you want with me, and we go from there. I've had conversations with people who started out just wanting to learn more about how to get into the wine industry. The conversation evolved into them wanting to start a business, and I became their business coach, and we drink wine together now and then. So, yeah, if my energy tends to fit, and you either have a business or a wine glass, you should reach out. Let's see if there's a vibe fit there.
Nice. Yeah. So, I want to take a slightly different tack, or go in a slightly different direction, and say, what's a myth about your service? It could be any one of your verticals, right? Mm-hmm. That you answer this for, or all of them, that you wish people would stop believing.
So my book is a bestseller. And I wish people would stop thinking that because you have a bestseller, you are suddenly a millionaire. That is not how it works. It takes a long time to actually get back in the black after all the time and money you invest in actually becoming an author. So best-selling authors are not millionaires after their first bestseller. In the wine industry, we don't spit out the wine because we don't like it. If we're spitting it, it's because we're working and we can't be drunk on the job. And as far as marketing coaching goes, that marketing and sales are the same thing, because they are not. And that marketing works instantly. Those 3 myths have really kept a lot of people, from really achieving what they want to achieve out of whatever they're asking me for. Mm-hmm. When they have the wrong beliefs, the outcomes don't seem to line up. And so the hardest thing that I think I have to do is, especially in marketing, make people understand that it's going to be at least 3 months before what we're doing works. And that's a lot of trust that has to be built. And that's how a lot of horrible marketing companies get away with it, because people are, thinking, okay, in 3 months it's going to be fine. Well, 3 months and 2 days later, that marketing company has disappeared with no guarantees and are not doing anything for them. So, I have to, I really, trust is at the very core of coaching, of marketing. At the core of wine is, let me give you another one, a better one for the misbelief for wine, that just because it's expensive, it's good. Good is relative. You know, I have a $4.99 bottle of Pinot Grigio. You can buy it at Lidl. It's absolutely delicious, that I love. And there's a bottle of $200 wine that a national brand that I will pass on every single time, because it's just not for me. Meanwhile, it sells millions of dollars of this bottle everywhere. It's because it's not that it's not good, it's that it's not for me. And so the big myth that I try to dispel with wine is that you have to like it because it's expensive or because it got 93 points from Wine Enthusiast magazine judges. Whatever, you know? I mean, you know, it's a very personal experience. So I just want people, I really need people to be patient with marketing and be personal with wine. And as far as, you know, the book goes, you want to see me be a millionaire? I'll buy 1 million copies.
Nice. Nice. So in terms of people reaching out to you, particularly for your coaching and maybe for the wine,
Sure.
what if someone has a small budget, whatever that means for you, what would you recommend for them?
I have small budget opportunities as well for people, but I also, because of the way that I price out some of my larger budgets and that are corporate, I build in enough that I can do what I call a scholarship, where if I have a business owner who really is putting in the work, but they just don't have the resources, I can work with them. So I mentor. I was mentored with the Loudon Youth Entrepreneur Academy, but I'll mentor people who really are putting in that effort and who really do have something going on that I believe in, even if they don't have those resources. I would also recommend that they don't overspend on the glitz. Don't buy, what did I call this the other day? So, like, here's an example. You know, as a woman, we get all dressed up. We put on the eyelashes. We put on the makeup. You know, we zhuzh ourselves up beautifully. And we walk out the door. Somebody who sees all of that, maybe they're going to stop and look right then. But if we haven't done anything with what's on the inside, all we're going to get is looks. So don't buy those glitzy packages, that expensive bottle of wine, just because the price tag is higher. That has nothing to do with the quality on the inside. Do your homework. Ask people before you make an investment that you may regret. Ask other people about what's going on. Ask experts. Don't ask your mom and them. Don't ask people who have no idea what they're talking about. Don't ask, Barbara down the street who wants her cousin to become your new, social media manager, even though that cousin has no idea how to do social media. You have to really surround yourself with people who understand what it is that you do, where you are in your journey, and let experts be the ones that can help to guide you. People who have no skin in the game, no stake in it. So that way that you've got people who have an objective opinion that are only going to have your best interest at heart. And that's hard to find, but there are a lot of people out there who want nothing more than just to take the easy road of taking advantage of people. But if you take your time and you really start reaching out to people who want to see the best happen for you, you're going to be okay.
Excellent. So if someone wants to support local businesses more, what's the best way to support yours?
Oh gosh, tell other people about it. Come to my events, buy a book, share the book. If you need some help with your business, reach out. I'm a member of a really, really great group called the Loudon, the Social Collectives. The one in Loudon was the first one that my really good friend now started back in the day. It is a wonderful place to go on, find referrals, request referrals, and also make referrals. It's all about sharing the best of what you find in people, and it's a really, really great resource. So yeah, I would think the Collectives is awesome, or just reach out to me directly. I've lived in Loudoun County since 2003, and so I used to write reviews under a pen name, and I've always reviewed businesses. I've always gone out there. One of my mottos was, if it's fantastic, tell the world. If there's a problem, tell a manager, right? And so when something goes wrong, I go to the business and tell them, hey, this could have been better. This experience wasn't awesome. When it's great, they get a Google review, Facebook. I tell everybody, you have to support this business. These people aren't paying me to do that. It's just, it's in my nature to do it. So I'm sorry, what was the question?
If someone wants to support local businesses more, what's the best way to support yours?
So local business. You know what? don't worry about me. I'm great. I'm doing fine. If you need me, you can find me. My name is my website. ReneeVentrice.com is how you find me. But support other local businesses. Go in. Anybody who impresses you, tell them how great they were to their faces, and then tell people online. Nothing builds small business faster than big praise. And I am a massive champion for making sure that you shout out the great and you shout in, the problems. Give them a chance to fix it before you go online and rake them over the coals for making a mistake. That's the best way to support a small business.
All right, so I'm going to sort of end with this.
Okay.
Give me 3 words that you want your customers to associate with you. 3 words.
3 words. As you can tell, I talk a lot, so just 3 words is really hard. I would say energy, humility, and honesty.
I like that. Energy, humility, and honesty.
Yes.
Okay.
Not necessarily in that order either, sorry, but just in general, those are 3 things that people typically, that's what people see about me. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to ask one last question.
Okay.
Or maybe there are more. Who knows?
This might be 2 episodes.
Which one is most true for you? You save people time, you save them money, or you save them stress?
Save them time, money, and stress.
Which is most true for you?
Yeah, it's time. I save people time. I give them back time so that they can leverage their time smarter, which in turn turns into more money and less stress. But it would go time, stress, money. Because if you can manage the first 2, the third comes. If you can manage your time and your stress, not only does that money start to come, but you get to enjoy it. There are a million miserable, wealthy people out there because they don't know how to manage their stress even though they have money. There are people out there with all this time and don't know what to do with it, even though they might have money and they have low stress. But if you can manage your time, you can cut back on your stress. And when that money comes, you spend it in a way that is more satisfying and more gratifying. Doesn't matter what the amount is, whether you make $20 or $20 million. If you don't have good stress and time management, that money is just, it becomes a barnacle, it becomes a burden. And I say this as someone who really has grown up without any money, someone who didn't have any money, when she figured out how to manage her time and her stress. And it makes it so that over the past few years, as the money started coming in, I was able to really enjoy it and use it in a way that really matters. That's how the scholarship idea came about. It was like, okay, I did really well. I'm going to find 2 entrepreneurs who are putting in the work and will put in the time and the effort. And I will do this for them, as a part of a way of giving back, one entrepreneur at a time.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to say thank you for coming on the show. This has been very informative and very enjoyable conversation.
Thank you.
It's been, I love how clear your thoughts are and how precise you are in your communication. You say you talk a lot, but you say a lot of good stuff.
Oh,
it's not just fluff, and I appreciate that.
Well, my coaches are really a big part of that. They help me to slow down how fast I talk, but also to be more intentional with what my words and messaging are. And I appreciate opportunities like this because you're just starting out your podcast as well, and it's going to go far. It's really going to help tell some impactful stories in a way that other podcasts aren't. So I appreciate you as well, and thank you for this opportunity.
And that's a wrap on another conversation that goes beyond the business card. If this episode moved you, challenged you, or made you think, share with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Loud and Forward wherever you get podcasts, and please leave a review. It helps more people find the real stories shaping Loudoun County from the inside out. I'm Toye Oramosu. Until next time, keep building forward.
From the river to the river.